Is Tuesday, November 3rd, 2020. This is USA Election Day. So welcome to the morning of Election Day. Today, as is typical, we're going to read from the Daily Word. So let me make sure I've got everything open for you here. I do. So give credit to Daily Word, dailyword.org. You can read along each day's Daily Word, or you can also subscribe and have access to future and past Daily Words. It's a great way to experience Daily Word and have connection to any of those that you really love that you can come back to. So today's Daily Word is engage. I am deeply engaged in life. If you'll repeat that with me. I am deeply engaged with life. I can learn so much from my interactions with others. I encounter a wide range of viewpoints, personalities, and talents as I go about my day. My real growth happens when I fully engage with my surroundings. I am not a passive observer of the world around me. I may learn new things by taking a class, practicing a new language, traveling to an unfamiliar locale, or volunteering in my church or community. Fresh experiences show me undiscovered parts of myself. Just as my outer world expands as I engage with others, so too does my inner world expand. I deepen my understanding, share my love, and awaken my compassion and empathy for all with whom I engage. And our verse today comes from 1 Peter 3:8. Finally, all of you have unity of spirit, sympathy, love for one another, a tender heart, and a humble mind. Our affirmation, I am deeply engaged in life. Together, I am deeply engaged in life. I am deeply engaged in life. This morning, if you're part of the meditation, this led me to having a fond memory of my first time of engaging meditation. But today, this morning, engagement is reminding me, because it is election day, that there are tens of millions of people voting today. And I'm going to light a candle this morning. Know that the co-founder of Unity, Charles Fillmore, didn't necessarily care for or encourage rituals, because he didn't want us to confuse that we needed something outside of us to connect us to our divine nature. So I use this candle this morning as a way of honoring us for being willing to engage, to take action in our life. It's not a political statement. It's celebrating the light that we all are. And anytime we engage our life, I would think how magnificent it would be if we would celebrate that engagement versus, well, what's the other side of that? The complaining about what others are doing or not doing, or what I myself is doing or not doing. That complaint list could be long. So I light this candle in celebration of our willingness to engage today on this election day. Engage, if we look in the dictionary, it says to begin and carry on an enterprise or activity, or to do or take part in something. So as we talk about engage today, know that I'm going to talk a little about and mention the fifth principle of unity. And any of you who are out there that remember that fifth principle, I invite you, if you'll put it in the chat, or just the best way you remember it. You know you don't remember it word for word, that's fine. Just your best memory, best guess at it. Because today we talk about engaging. We want to know, are we engaged? Do we engage life? Because there's lots of things that we could engage. Engage my family, my friends, my um, work. I can engage what's happening in my country in an election. There's lots of things I could engage, but since we're part of a spiritual community at Unity Fort Worth, it's wondering about what are we engaging spiritually. So it's to do something with our engagement of divine nature, of God, of principle, of law. So Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, says that God is indwelling life, intelligence, love, and power. It's the eternal, I get that word right, the eternal and the infinite, and that God is potential. So all that is available to us is potential. So all that was, all that is, live the truth you know. Excellent, D. You might have, maybe you in all those classes that you have taken in the spiritual education and enrichment might have helped you stick that one away. Great, thank you, D. But looking here at this idea of God being principle, as Charles Fillmore shares with us, that's available to us, and all that is, all that ever was, all that ever will be. So the potential of all that is, and all that we can imagine, whether that's goodness and love and passion, happiness, joy, all that is a part of that potential, and so much more. I mean, it's the infinite. It's the infinite for us. Thus, it's infinite. The potential there is infinite. So, doing something with God is using God. So, if we're going to take this potential and do something with it, we're actually using God. It's not the other way around. It's not the scenario of we're puppets on the strings and we're being orchestrated by this being into sometimes bewildering situations in our life. But it's that we are using God. God is principle, is potential. And whether it's used or unused, there's goodness and love and passion, is happiness, joy. All that is still there. So if it's unused, it's there. Now the beauty of it, even when it's used, it's still there. It doesn't get depleted. It remains. So for us here in Unity, the fifth principle, D wrote it so well, live the truth you know. It's written sometimes as through thoughts, words, and actions, we live the truth we know, or sometimes we see it as knowledge of these spiritual principles is not enough. We must live them. So it's about living. It's taking action. There's activity involved with it. So there's a consciousness with that what we do and the way we interact matters. And that it's, yes, important to use the thoughts and words, but it's also essential that we use the actions to live that truth. So it's not just enough to put the information in up here. It's the application of it. It's the experience of living and being in it. It's live the truth you know. So living this truth means that we have to work on remaining conscious and be aware of our divine nature. And we are also looking at that as recognizing the divinity that is present, meaning present in all, everywhere, everything. Recognizing there's not a place that a void exists. That divinity is, and the divinity is this, all that I'm experiencing and being expressed in my universe And beyond what my awareness is that recognition as being divine. Also, this action step required that if we're engaged with God, then we are taking that into our life and into our world. So we're seeing and experiencing life as that same divinity we talked about, but that I know that I am taking that divinity and that I am experiencing that divinity. I am being that divinity, and all that I'm interacting with is that divinity. So engaging is also part of the ability to recognize and be with, but it's the stepping up and taking action and being active in those things in my life. It's not being the bystander, because if we think about how much I'm engaging life, how much am I not engaging life might be the other side of that coin too. Meaning, what's taking place in my life that I'm not really engaged with, versus those things that I know I'm not just knee deep in. It's up to here for me. I'm that fully engaged with it. Well, how engaged are we with God, with principle, with law? And that's a question that only you can ask and only you can answer for yourself. So how are you engaging God? In what depth are you taking that? So thus, what action are you taking with this awareness of truth? Because that potential is on the table, right? Whatever it was hoped for, whatever it was dreamed of for us, that potential is there. We're engaging with it if we want to see it, experience it in our lives. So if we're not seeing the things that we want to experience in our life, we have to come back to that question again. How much am I engaging God? Because for there to be an experience of those things dreamed and hoped of, then we have to engage. And to engage is to act. With that, why don't we take that to prayer this morning? I invite you, just take a good breath in. And we're letting go of any of our thoughts, concerns, any of what's turning over in our head. And relaxing in, allowing our body, our awareness, our being, all that we are, to relax, to settle in, to be calm and ease. And now we concentrate on the one true source, one power, one nature that is here. The one power, one source, one true nature that I am. This one power and one source, knowing that this is the universe. The divine dwells here, and that no corner, no nook, no cranny can we find an absence of divine. It is our focus. And now we meditate, bringing that into the present now. We're stepping into the silence, knowing that silence is the divine, and that we live in that silence because we are the divine. And our realization is that we are never separate. We are the expression and the experience, and that what unfolds in our prayer requests and the request of those that we have in our life, that is fully realized as here. It's no longer potential, it is fact. I am the realization that the divine is unfolding, and that all that I desire and hope for is unfolding here, now. There can be no other way. The potential is met. I have engaged it, and now the reality unfolds. And I'm grateful that I had this opportunity to recognize how I engage my life, how I engage God, and how I take that engagement into my world and see it unfold in the powerful and profound ways it does. And with that, I say, and so it is. Amen. Thank y'all. Thank you for being here with us today. Um, as always, I invite you to go to unityfortworth.org and check out the calendar. So you can just enter in unityfortworth.org/calendar, or just go look in the menu at unityfortworth.org. There might be some other things you want to look at besides just the calendar there, such as the blog and posts that are there. There's also live stream posts, but check out the calendar. Events coming up here in November, classes happening, spiritual education and enrichment classes, food drive that happened in October has now moved into happening on the same Sunday afternoons as a toy drive to help us move into the December and that holiday season. So lots of things to discover. Go discover something new. Go engage it today. Thank you. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to seeing you.